Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of The Viewpoint. We're joined, it's just Josh Potter and it's Lucas Jackson. We're, of course, talking about Clash of Champions. Wait for it. Gold Rush. Yeah. As there's a tagline to every WWE pay-per-view nowadays.
Can we copy that? Can we copyright them for that?
I don't think we own the copyright, sadly. So
does that mean that we can't use it anymore?
Potentially not. I mean, I don't know if taglines count. I mean, if so, I think maybe when DK does get started, we could maybe just keep doing the taglines. We'll have the DKW horror show. We'll have DKW, you never see it coming.
We're going to do it until they shut us down.
I digress. But look, the Clash of Champions is the one night of the year where every championship in WWE is to be defended. And so there's 9 championship matches that are taking place at the event. Obviously, the 24/7 championship, I guess they're not really counting that as it's not going to have a match, but we're assuming it'll be part of the broadcast.
Well, considering it gets defended 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it would be very silly if it wasn't part of the broadcast. Most likely on the pre-show or something. But there are 9 matches, and they're not counting NXT as part of this either. So it's the Raw and SmackDown championships that are on the line. So as you know, with these from experience, we split the big matches up. So we don't want you just to watch the start of the video or the middle or the end. We like to split them up. So
no skipping ahead.
No skipping ahead. But we are going to just start with the pre-show match first, and then we're going to go on to the main show. That only seems normal to do.
The pre-show.
So yeah, on the pre-show, we've got the Raw Women's Championship contest between Asuka and Zelina Vega.
Where does Zelina Vega come from all of a sudden?
The Raw Women's division's in a bit of a kind of reshuffle at the moment. Obviously, they have drafted Mandy Rose over, and they've also split up the Iconics, and they've had Mickie James return.
They split up the only real tag team.
Yes, but this is WWE. And as we get to the other tag matches that are on the show, we will talk about just tag teams in general and how, obviously, yes, they've butchered them. But with regards to this, you've got Zelina Vega, who's now decided that she's not going to be a manager anymore, and that she's going to become a full-time competitor. And she challenged Asuka 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, and she has received her championship opportunity. I'm not even going to go too much into this one. It's a pre-show match. Asuka is winning, and Asuka should win. And Asuka should win very quickly because Zelina Vega is not a very good wrestler.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, go on.
Why is Asuka on the pre-show?
It baffles the mind, but the only thing I can think of is that there are obviously 3 women's matches on the show, and so I think they decided to put this one on. And I think it's not a dig at Asuka, it's more a thing at Zelina. I don't know if anyone has seen.
Maybe they're just trying to make the pre-show better.
Well, better with Asuka, yes.
Sticking one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
On the pre-show, yeah, that'll help the pre-show.
I think it's just time to split the women's matches up. I guess there's 2 other women's matches on the card, and obviously it is a 9-match card, so I guess 1 match had to fall into the pre-show, and this happens to be it. I did think it would end up being the SmackDown tag titles that would fall onto the pre-show, but no, we're getting both those matches on the main show, both Raw and SmackDown tags on the main show. But yeah, I'm going with Asuka for this one. I think it's
easily
obvious defense. I'd be kind of concerned if it even goes above the 6-7 minute mark, to be fair. I think Zelina Vega's never been positioned as a wrestler, let alone as a wrestler to kind of take Asuka.
Not in WWE, but in TNA, she was a member. She was that forgetful member of LAX.
Yes, yeah. I mean, obviously WWE have always seen her as a manager.
Yeah.
And
she's good as a manager, so I'll give her credit for that. Like, she's doing a good job.
Well, she was. She's now not obviously managing anyone, so... Well, that's that. We're both in the bank with Asuka then. So let's get to the main show. We've got 8 matches. We're going to obviously talk about some of the big ones first. And the big one we're going to talk about, we're going to go straight in. The match for the Universal Championship over on the SmackDown side of things. And that's between the big dog, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who's accompanied, of course, by Paul Heyman, and his cousin, Jey Uso. What do you think, Josh?
I think as much as it would be nice to see one of the Usos getting a singles title, it's really not difficult to say that Reigns will take this. He's just won the title. he's just like, love him or hate him, the pop he received from returning all across the internet was massive.
Yeah.
Even from the people that hated him. Like that, because the thing with Roman Reigns is no one hates him because he's bad. They hate him because they need someone to hate. Like, they enjoy hating on him. So, all the smarks out there are going, oh my God, he's back. We have someone good to dislike again. But yeah, it's easy. Roman Reigns, for sure. Like,
Yeah,
in terms of in-ring skills, I'd say they're not equal, but they outclass each other in different fields.
Yeah, I think obviously with this one as well, I think obviously the reaction on the internet's been a bit like, oh, what the fuck? Why is Jey Uso getting a title shot above obviously people like maybe like Sheamus and Big E, and you know, I guess some people might have thought we were going to get the Fiend versus Roman straight away. But I think it is showing a good side to WWE in this year, coming out of, you know, this pandemic that we're going through this pandemic, we're still going through it. Like, you know, that they want to try new things. And so we're getting, I think it's good that we're getting new title challenges, that we're getting new matches. And I think Roman Reigns takes this. But I do think as well, like, people need to remember, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, they are family. And they
grew up together.
Yeah. They must have the discussion at some point of, if me and you ever had a match, we'd do this. And I just think there's some things that will happen in this match that will be very, very different from any other Jey Uso and any other Roman Reigns match, because it's them two. Yeah. And I'm happy they're doing it. But yeah, Roman Reigns easily takes this one, I'd say.
No disrespect to Jey Uso, of course.
No, fantastic.
Like, I easily see him being a future champion, heavyweight champion, potentially.
Potentially, yeah. I mean,
maybe not in WWE, but down the line somewhere, I see it.
Well, yeah, I think usually very tied in. That Samoan heritage is very tied in, isn't it, with WWE? So it'd be kind of only really they got fired.
I've never really seen a bad Anoa'i wrestler, ever.
There's a couple. I mean, there was like a Sim Snooker, wasn't there? There's a few of the bad Samoans about.
Not that I've seen, anyway.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, yeah.
But regardless if they're good or bad in the ring, they've always got that respect. That comes from their family.
Yeah, no, of course. So both Roman Reigns with that one, easy peasy with that one. Yeah. Now let's go to a tag match, and let's go to the SmackDown side of things still. So Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura are the champions. They are looking to defend against the Lucha House Party. They haven't said which members that are going to be in the match, and they have teased Kalisto as like the leader, you know, and you know that kind of stuff.
I mean, he's always had that. He's got a little bit more experience on the main roster as opposed to Lince Dorado and Gran Metalica, both being very, very strong on 205 Live. So it's understandable that Kalisto would have that more, not necessarily leadership role, but kind of that more mouthpiece, in your face type.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Kalisto was on the main roster before, and he was obviously he's a two-time United States champion. Yep. You know, even though they are kind of forgetful reigns, he still kind of has that up there, I guess.
Yeah, he's one of those people that everyone underestimates him. You forget he's had multiple title reigns, and you forget that he's actually quite good as a tag team. If you remember Sin Cara, they were quite a good tag team.
Yeah, they've been trying to get this Lucha stable thing, I think, off. I mean, it seems to me that they've always wanted to be trying to replace Rey Mysterio, it seems. Or gearing up, at least, for when Rey Mysterio, when he decides to stop being just very bloody good at what he does.
When his body finally gives out.
But it looks like we're waiting for death for that to happen, to be fair.
And it looks like we're going to have Dominic Mysterio in his place.
Yeah, so, you know. In terms of the match, this is one I keep flip-flopping on. Like, maybe they do a kind of shock kind of win here for Lucha House Party? Or is it too soon? I think it's too soon. So I will play it safe, and I will go with a Cesaro and Shinsuke retention. Though I would like to see the Lucha House Party win. I think particularly because they were really a tag team that came out their shell during the lockdown era of WWE back in the Performance Center, and there was a very good 4-way tag match they did at one of the first events, I think, of that era. With New Day, Forgotten Sons, with a triple threat match. Was Miz and Morrison in it as well? I'm not too sure. I think it was
Miz and Morrison were in it as well because it was a number 1 contenders match.
I think it's for the championship. It's for the championships.
No, because I remember the Forgotten Sons beating them.
The Forgotten Sons beat.
Maybe it was Elimination Chamber. Not Elimination Chamber. Maybe it was an elimination match.
Maybe, yeah. But I remember there being a very. Sure, people in the comments will let us know. I remember there being a very solid match that Lucha House Party kind of did. They started coming out the shell, and they've got some wins over the champs, which usually means they're going to lose anyway. So, but yeah, I wouldn't be mind. I wouldn't be against seeing it.
It's one of those matches where you can't really complain who wins. Like, you've got your preference, but you'd have no issue with the other team winning.
Yeah, no, I get that. That. What do you think?
In regards to too soon, I'd say it's not too soon for them to pick up the title, but I just don't think it'll be. I don't think they'll be beating Cesaro and Nakamura for the title.
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing. Maybe they'll be the next title holder after Nakamura and Cesaro lose. But for this, I'm going Cesaro and Nakamura.
Fair enough. No, I think, look, well, in agreement once again, Josh. Let's see how we keep going with this. So we're going to move over. Let's move to the Raw brand then, and we'll talk about the match for the United States Championship, which I cannot believe this match is happening again, or this person that's actually got the title shot again, as we're going to see Apollo Crews challenge Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. I believe now Apollo Crews have been involved in the United States Championship picture.
Every pay-per-view in the last couple months.
I think even for the year.
Maybe.
Since
he won it, regardless of if he has held the title or not, he has been involved in every United States Championship since then.
Yeah, I was a bit baffled with this. I thought that...
with the Hurt Business as well.
Yeah, I thought that they'd go with Ricochet, because he's... I mean, I don't think Ricochet's actually had a pay-per-view match since he got beaten by Lesnar. Which seems like a lifetime ago, back at Saudi Arabia Super Showdown. But yeah, I thought they'd go Ricochet, at least keep it different.
Well, Ricochet is involved in a match. He's accompanying Apollo Crews to the ring, because obviously his former tag mate, tag team partner, Cedric Alexander, has now joined the Hurt Business. Don't get me wrong, I like this faction.
I love them.
It's a better version of the Beatdown Clan.
Oh,
with a better name as well.
Better music too.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Caval, low-key, would still be a good member to have. Yeah,
I think he's ship at WWE as sold though.
Yeah.
Sadly, he's a bit of a...
Though he would work well, because he worked really well in the BDC. And having MVP as this manager that can also get their hands dirty is a nice touch, I think. Because
I think so.
What I find quite bizarre, though, is the fact that MVP only came back for a couple of matches because his son had never seen him wrestle in WWE. Yeah. And now, look, he's had multiple title opportunities, and now he's got a faction that he's... I wouldn't even go as far as to say he's leading them.
Yeah, I think obviously it's very much what I like about the Hurt Business is I think that they have their own kind of roles, and all four of them are excelling in them.
But they're also very equal.
Yeah. But they're not doing the typical like I'm the leader kind of thing. And we know that people are going to turn on each other.
Like you've got MVP as kind of not necessarily the mastermind, but the ideas guy.
Yeah,
and then you've got the other three with their own separate roles. I like it, but with this one. I'm going to go Bobby Lashley retains.
Yeah, he's got to.
And then maybe Ricochet gets a title shot or has a match against Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, I think we're at the stage now where you know, Apollo Crews' time with this picture is over. And to be fair, I think this pay-per-view is one too many for him to be part of. The title shot should have gone to Ricochet. And even then, Ricochet should have lost because Bobby Lashley needs to be a world champion within the next 12 months in WWE.
He almost was at WrestleMania. Not WrestleMania.
Was it Backlash he faced, Seth?
I think so. It wasn't long after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I believe it was Backlash.
Yeah.
Because Drew beat Seth at Money in the Bank, and then he was meant to face Jinder, wasn't he? And then Jinder got injured, and so they reshuffled it to Lashley and had a really fucking good match. Lashley. To be fair,
Lashley's one of those guys where, love him or hate him, he's always been good.
Yeah, I agree.
In everything he's done.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this needs to be this US title. I think it's going to be used as kind of like the pre-show or the precursor to him becoming the world champion next year. Please don't get injured.
I'd like to see Hurt Business take all the titles.
But yeah, they're great. So one minute we're going to gain, Josh. We're going to gain. Right, let's switch back then to the women, and we'll go with the women's tag team titles. And we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the current champs, taking on the Riot Squad, who have recently reformed, which obviously has come kind of as a bittersweet pill because the Iconics split up.
And it's quite weird, like, considering how the Riot Squad split up and how Ruby Riott returned, both times them fighting, not just splitting up, like full on having a massive fight. This isn't like best friends having an argument and falling out. No, this is like full on fist fight. Like, how do you come back from that and become a like tag team? And what happens in Liv's push?
It's WWE, so stuff just happens. And maybe this is her push. And this is the one, because I decided not to go with Lucha House Party in the SmackDown tag, I'm going to go with Riot Squad with this one. As I don't know, I think there has to be a surprise here somewhere. And this whole kind of card, to me, seems quite default.
It seems quite one-sided.
Yeah, and I think that maybe what they might do is they might escalate the Nia and Shayna feud, which is what they wanted to do. Obviously, Hell in a Cell on the corner, Survivor Series. I think as well, this was just to kind of get the belts on them. As obviously someone like, definitely Shayna, is someone I guess they want to be given the, in the future, be given the Grand Slam Women's Championship. And so this just needs to be done. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really see a reason for them to be champions. And I think the Riot Squad, if there was a emblem of a Liv Morgan push still like flickering,
this will help.
This will help it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's bold. I believe it might be bold, and I wouldn't obviously be surprised if it just go the other way because obviously Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are both dominant competitors. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going for the Riot Squad. I want something different.
I want Riot Squad to take the titles so bad because they are a real tag team. They've got a name. They've got matching attires. They've got theme song. It's not just... Go on.
I also think that the Riot Squad got a bad deal last time round. Obviously, they were in the company at the same time as Ronda was getting off. And
Ronda squashed the women's division. And I don't mean like she beat them all. I mean like she just... Women's Evolution was at its peak. But what about the rest of the women they left? It was only those three.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ronda did a lot of good for the division, though, in the sense of she elevated it to a main event spot. I don't think without Ronda, it would be solely main event.
Yeah. My issue with it is, yes, they main evented WrestleMania. Yes, they elevated the division to new highs, but they left a lot of people at the bottom. Is how I feel anyway. I understand that obviously you can't have everyone in the main event. You can't have everyone on the main card. But you can't have the same 5 people either.
But you could argue this is what they've done with the men too. Like remember when the Universal title picture was just Rollins, Lesnar, Reigns for and they've only really broken that. But obviously Lesnar
But this was meant to be like a new thing for the women. This was meant to be like elevating them to new levels. They did that, but they only elevated like maybe 10 women to a new level, and everyone else got left to fend for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, WWE Women Division, though, like I'd say, in the past 6 months, though, they really had to obviously buck their ideas up, because obviously they it's weird to think we're in a period where there's no Charlotte or Becky on the roster, which I don't think both those two being off the roster has ever happened. Since basically women's evolution, revolution, devolution, whatever you want to call it, begun. And and Bayley and Sasha obviously stepped up big time, and definitely when they decided to have their match, that's a worthy main event of any pay-per-view. We have to get past this women can't main event stuff anymore. Even I've had to, I've made comments before on social media and stuff about women's wrestling, and now I'm kind of kicking myself a bit for saying that or thinking those ways. But it's like the business, it needed time to evolve, and I need time for to let it catch up. And but yeah, I think I'm going to go the right squad. I think they got a rough deal last time round, and this might be a way to kind of thing. And I've got a thing where, here we go, a bit of a pet peeve. I hate teams that don't win championships.
Yeah,
it really bugs me.
You can't be a real tag team without a championship.
There's loads of these tag teams that exist, even really good ones, even ones in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that never won championships in a major company or territory, and I've never understood it. And I think, if you're going to have women's tag belts, you need to give them to tag teams that are women. And
because you haven't got many.
You haven't got many. You pick them up every week.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously now they're bringing in, I think they've got Lana and Natalia. I think they're just burying, just getting kind of squashed all the time. And, it's very slim pickings. If they split up Bayley and Sasha, that had to be done. But yeah, I'm going to go to the Riot Squad. What do you think?
As much as I want Riot Squad to win, I don't think it will happen yet. I think maybe the next pay-per-view, Nia and Shayna will lose, and that'll be Nia's opportunity to go back into the main event picture. And with any luck, Nia Jax will just fuck off.
Yeah, get released maybe.
Right, don't get me wrong. There is potential for Nia Jax. So much potential.
Just not a bit in the WWE.
Maybe not. She just definitely needs to scrub up on her in-ring skills.
That's putting it nicely. She's a dangerous, reckless.
Yeah, but she's such a unique person as well. She's one of those people that that you can't let them go because of their stature and their build. You'll never see someone of that shape again for a very, very long time. It's like when we lost China. You were never going to find another China. Then they had Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
And now we've got Nia Jax, who sucks. And it's kind of ruined this whole natural force of destruction that she could have been. I honestly think Nia Jax would be perfect for squash matches and a short streak.
Well, they did that with her when she first debuted on the main roster.
I think that was the peak of her career. And then that was it. The moment she went longer than 5 minutes, she was fucked.
And then she couldn't. She couldn't work very well with people, and she kept injuring people. But I mean, what's your pick for the match then? What do you think?
Nia Jax and Shayna. I think that they're going to make it go out a little longer, then split them up, get rid of Nia, and put Shayna in the main event somewhere.
Fair enough. Fair play. So now we're going to go to the SmackDown side of things, and we're looking at a match which could possibly be the match of the night, maybe match of the year. It's the triple threat ladder match for the IC Championship, and we have the champion Jeff Hardy, we have the so-called champion Sami Zayn, and the champion never lost his belt, and AJ Styles, who's obviously the last holder before Jeff Hardy. And this is a ladder match, and wow. This is one where I think is definitely one for the internet. I've said this previously. and I think I'll say it again, this match depends on the finish. And I'm just
100%.
hoping that they don't decide to do the one thing which I think they might do, just to bloody annoy everyone, is have two people grab the belt. Because they're continuing this stupid story thing. Not stupid, but...
The undisputed Intercontinental title.
Yeah. I'm just hoping they don't do something stupid, because I think, you know, when they do that, it just insults their audience. And I think, you know, it's not needed. There's a way to kind of get other rivalries involved with this without needing it. And the match itself, it should be really, really good. Because you've got AJ Styles, who's pretty much within the top kind of 3 workers, at least in WWE anyway. You know, you've got Jeff Hardy, who, you know, I've said this many times, that you will never find, like there's key moments that have happened in wrestling history. You know, there's the birth of Hulkamania, there's the birth of Stone Cold and also 316 and stuff. There's stuff, there's Cena's return at the Rumble in 2008. And then there is the love, and I mean the love that people had for Jeff Hardy in WWE in 2008 when they were screaming for him to beat every single person on the roster, and that love has just continued for years and years.
Do you know what it is? It's because he's always been and will continue to be the charismatic enigma. That is not a silly nickname. That is him. You never know what he's going to do. Like, he's got all this energy built up. And I don't even think he knows what he's going to do half the time. That energy will build up and build up and build up and just ping out in whatever fucking direction it goes. You'll never find another Jeff Hardy.
No,
I've said this 1,000 times before, not necessarily on the podcast, but in general. You will never find another Jeff Hardy. And let's be honest, you cannot have a Jeff Hardy title run without at least one ladder match.
Yeah, no. I think, I think Jeff's got this. I think, obviously, he just re-signed his contract, didn't he? Or signed a new contract.
Yeah, I think this will be the last contract he signs for anywhere. Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy to think that, but then potentially not, because I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going with Jeff to retain.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping there is absolute kind of finish. And I think Jeff needs this big moment. He deserves it too. Like I said, it's still baffling to me, and I get this with a few wrestlers now, that Jeff Hardy has now been on a WWE broadcast for 4 decades.
It's mad, isn't it? You don't realise he doesn't look like he's over 40. He looks like he's still in his. He acts like he's still in his 30s/20s. Like,
but yeah, the Hardys, they were obviously famous enhancement talent / jobbers back in the early 90s on Raw, and then obviously later on became the amazing duo as a tag team that we've known.
Team Extreme.
Team Extreme. Into Jeff Hardy's single run, firstly in TNA, and then obviously followed up in WWE with his probably his peak run, really, I'd say, when he was WWE champion and
peak run in WWE for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll say overall, I think.
Yeah, now I think of it, his TNA run wasn't great. He was very high.
It's the pinnacle of being WWE champion is the pinnacle of anyone's career, I think.
I don't like to say WWE is the be-all and end-all of wrestling. Because it's not. It's not the be-all and end-all. However, main eventing WrestleMania, or just being on the main show of WrestleMania, will be the highest high of anyone's wrestling career.
Yeah.
And that is with no disrespect to any other promotion, but WWE is the biggest, and WrestleMania is the most recognizable wrestling event anywhere on this planet. And I guarantee you, any wrestling promoter, whether it be AEW, New Japan, even here in the UK at Progress, they will all tell you that if they had the opportunity, they would go to WrestleMania. Yeah,
I mean, it's just such a spectacle and brand by itself. And Jeff obviously has some great moments at WrestleMania, obviously with TLC matches against his own brother. And obviously, again, like for the WWE Championship, he's been a former world champion and stuff. So it's like, there's that
pioneer of the TLC match.
Yeah.
Well,
And he's one of the few guys from that era, along with his brother, and Bully Ray. And Edge, if he comes back from this injury, we don't know. But
Edge is still alive. He's still alive. His name is still floating in the hat.
But yeah, but I've gone with Jeff. What do you think?
I'm going with Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Unless Jeff does that stupid thing where he jumps through a ladder off of another ladder and kills someone.
Oh,
he does it a lot, too much.
He does, yeah. I still think we're getting a big Jeff spot, but I'm hoping that it's a safer Jeff spot.
I'm hoping it's a big Jeff spot that leads to Jeff winning.
Yeah, same. He deserves it. He deserves his moment, especially off the stuff of Sheamus earlier in the year. And so yeah, I've gone with Jeff. So yeah, both in agreement with that one. So let's switch to the Raw side of things again as we go to the Raw Tag Team title match. And that's between the Street Profits and the former Vega Boys, but now just Andrade and Angel Garza. So I have to admit, this is another match which I just,
bored of now.
I'm bored of now, along with the US title scene, just involving the same people.
Like, they do good matches, but we don't need it this much.
Yeah, I
feel sorry for Andrade. He always gets stuck in these rivalries for like weeks on weeks, having the same match. I
don't know what it is. They're just obsessed. Like when they did the when he was US champion and he just had to face Humberto, like for like 6 months. It felt like it's just what's his,
or he had to just face Rey Mysterio every week.
Yeah,
every week for like a month and a bit. It was like
they struck lightning with one of their matches, one of the combos, or whatever, and they were like, "We're going to do that every month now." It's like,
do you know what I think it is? I think it's because he's dating Charlotte, and they're like, "Well, we have to have him on all the time." But no one said we have to have him in the main event.
Yeah, but look, I'm bored of Andrade and Angel Garza. I really like the Street Profits. I just do. I think they're cool. I think they are now the longest reigning Raw Tag Team Champions, and I think they should continue their reign.
Insane.
Yeah, it's just because Seth Rollins hasn't had a new tag team partner yet. That's the reason why they've kept him. So yeah, please keep them on the Street Profits until Seth Rollins gets new tag partners. What I say. How about you,
Murphy?
Well, I think
him and Murphy had the title for a while.
Yeah, they did already. Yeah, they've all done that now. So that means Seth needs a new partner. He can't win it with the same person again. So Seth needs to split up with Murphy. Why don't you put Andrade with Rollins after this? There we are. Then he can get his tag title reign.
And he can have the same match over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, keep on the Street Profits. They're fun. They're upbeat. I think they're that bit of fun that everyone kind of needs.
They're that combination of fun and serious that WWE really needs.
Yeah,
because they're hyped, but they're not stupid. If that makes sense.
I mean, I'll be more behind Andrade and Angel Garza if they get a name, or like if there is like if they're not going to tease them splitting still, because then they need tag teams. This is like a PSA, WWE. Like, stop splitting up tag teams. Like, stop releasing them. Stop, sort of splitting them up needlessly. Like, at one point to think that they had, Revival, now known as FTR. They had Hawkins and Ryder. They had AOP. They had, I think who else they've had. They got rid of Garrison and Anderson. The OC. They had all these tag teams on their roster, along with the New Day, along with, again, Cesaro and Shinsuke only put together tag team, but solid tag team. Lucha House Party. He had all these tag teams. We did nothing with them, and now we're just seeing these random matches happening on pay-per-view now. Not good, but yeah, Street Profits over. What do you think?
I'm going to go Street Profits over, but hear me out. So you know how they've been constantly teasing Andrade and Angel Garza to split?
Yeah.
I think now Zelina Vega has dumped them, this will be the time to do it. Zelina Vega was the only thing holding those two together. So if they do not split and feud now, they will never have a better time to do it.
Yeah, probably.
So for that reason alone, I'm going Street Profits because I want to see these guys feud.
fight for the next 10 months.
Like, as much as I want to see more tag teams in WWE, because I have a special thing for tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
I want to see this happen because they've been teasing it for so long. And I think these two are the perfect combination of American and lucha wrestling, that them molded together in like a very short rivalry could have spectacular matches. The charisma of those two just is the perfect clash. I mean, you smash something together and it just sticks. That is what these two would be like.
Yeah, well, maybe
they should feud for the United States Championship.
I couldn't get behind another Andrade run if he's going to just feud Mexicans, though. I think like Lashley's the guy at the moment, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll do that. But look, let's move on. Let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's on the line as Bayley defending against Nikki Cross. Another match which I feel like we've done.
I think it's the second time we've done it, actually.
I think they faced her lots of times over the summer, I think. Mainly on TV, but it's definitely been explored a lot.
It's the second pay-per-view title match I've seen of them.
Yeah, I think it's second pay-per-view.
To my knowledge.
So, yeah, I have to just say that Bayley's not losing.
No, because of Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I guess the only kind of thing would be, maybe Sasha would cost her the belt, but then I see
wouldn't be worth
that as being silly, But Bayley over all day. I think Nikki Cross later on down the line potentially, but they shouldn't remove the belt off Bayley while this is going on. And Bayley and Sasha need to main event a pay-per-view for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's it done. Especially Bayley's just about to come up to 1 year anniversary of the reign as well. So, Bayley for me. What about you?
Easily Bayley. Just because I've been waiting for so long to see Sasha and Bayley split and feud for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I always said that one of them would lose the title that they were holding and then feud for the other one. And if it doesn't happen, I will be utterly heartbroken.
Yeah, it needs to be for the belt.
It would be such a waste if they didn't. Because
it's been such good storytelling up until now, and such good promotion of it. And I think, it needs to be. It needs to be, really. Looking forward to the match, though, in a weird way. Like, I think they do work well together. But I think...
it'll be a good match, but it's not one that I particularly care about.
Yeah, the thing is, what's hard about Clash of Champions, right, is obviously on normal pay-per-views, they obviously have, they always have title matches, we know that. Yeah. But they all usually have at least 2 or 3 that aren't for a championship and are something different. And I guess in a way, they've added a ladder match into things, and they've got the match we're going to discuss next, into things. So it's a little bit different because it is hard to get behind every match being, challenger, champion, challenger, champion. And so they tried their best to kind of make it a little bit different to the restraints that they have. I just feel a bit like, well, some of these matches that you wouldn't be seeing if it wasn't for the titles having to be on the line. Because I don't see why Bayley has to face Nikki Cross again.
Or why Jey Uso would face Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
no other situation.
No, just this month, obviously.
Zero complaints, but no other situation.
And, what's interesting about this as well is that if Lesnar was the Universal WWE Champion, or Goldberg, let's not discriminate here. If a part-time was champion, they wouldn't defend the belt at this pay-per-view. So, it seems like this year we're getting everyone. But anyway, so the next match, which I feel will be the main event, I'd be kind of silly if it's not, is the ambulance match for the WWE Championship. And it is, of course, Drew McIntyre taking on Randy Orton. So ambulance match, as I think hasn't been done in a few years now. And so,
Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, I believe, had an ambulance match.
Yeah, I think so. About 2 years ago, I think now.
Because I distinctly remember Braun Strowman tipping over said ambulance with Roman Reigns in it.
Yeah, they had like a whole kind of summer of stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I think 2017 or 2018, one of those 2 years.
That was a good year.
But yeah, you've got the Keith Lee factor somewhat to kind of think of here, Silla, because he has been cost by Orton. So will he kind of come back and cost Orton, you know, something in this match? Personally, I don't think he should. You know, I think it's weird we're saying this only a few weeks after he's debuted, but they are at risk of overburning Keith Lee, which will be a very bad thing to do if they mess this up. As for the pick of the match, I've gone for Randy Orton, and I said this last month, and I was wrong, obviously, because Drew's champion. I just don't see how he's not champion, in my opinion. I don't see how he's been able to get rid of Edge, get rid of Big Show, get rid of Flair, Christian, you know,
all these big names.
All these big names with all these big moments, but for some reason he can't get rid of Drew. And to be fair, the only other way around it, obviously, is Drew McIntyre is going to have this amazing, fantastic reign. And to be fair, it's quite an amazing reign by accomplishment level anyway.
I'm happy with the reign he's had so far. I said I wanted it to be fairly long, and it's been nearly a year.
Well, it's been like 6 months. Not near a year.
Has it? I thought it'd been longer.
I'm at WrestleMania now. Yeah. It's still quite a lengthy reign, though. Like for you know, modern day WWE.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're a part timer with that belt, you don't seem to always get these reigns. Because even people like Rollins and stuff only had the belt. Even Reigns. Weirdly, I looked at the stat about Reigns. I mean, he barely had the WWE Championship, you know, a couple of months at times. So, you know, he's meant to be the guy.
Yeah.
You know, but Drew, he's obviously beaten Rollins, beaten Lashley. He beat Big Show. He's beaten Orton obviously previously, and so he's on this kind of reign that's obviously continuing, and obviously it's going really well. But yeah, I'm going to go with Orton, but I do think it's going to be one of those where it's going to be like down to one move to decide it.
Yeah.
You know, kind of one thing to decide it. I don't think if Drew loses it, he'll lose like easily.
No,
it'll be
no way will he lose easily.
Long drawn out match. But what do you think?
I feel as though if Orton was going to win, it would be in this match, simply because this is more Orton's wheelhouse, the more sadistic style that Orton has. But that being said, McIntyre is still heavily riding this wave of hype since WrestleMania, because there aren't many people that don't like McIntyre as the champion. It's only those odd twats that don't like him, that don't like any form of wrestling. But I think Orton needs to have one more world title reign before he retires. Which, to be fair, I don't think it'll be anytime soon. And if he does retire, I don't think it'll be for health reasons, because he's been in like peak shape for like the last 20 years, arguably. Like, I don't think he's ever gotten out of shape. Even Edge, to be fair.
No, Edge is in great shape. And I think this is testament to the fact that obviously nowadays people are just better with their health, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think we've got someone like Orton, he wrestles safe as houses. He doesn't do insane ladder matches or top rope stuff or neck bumps.
He doesn't have to.
Or hardcore stuff. He doesn't, and he knows that. And I think he's one of those, but he said, I think recently, he will wrestle for the next 10 years.
If he wants to.
At his level, if he wants to. But he's one of those where I think he will, when he just had enough, he will just call it a day. He's, you know, made his millions. I mean millions.
Yeah.
Through WWE. Millions, you know.
He could buy AEW.
Yeah, most likely. You know, he's made a lot of money, a lot of mint doing this. And, you know, he's, like I said, his accomplishments speak for themselves. He's, you know, multiple-time world champion, won the Royal Rumble, you know, won Money in the Bank, won literally everything else that was to be done, main event WrestleMania, and yada, yada, yada. And, yeah, he was one of those where he could go another 10 years, or he could just decide maybe in a couple of years after he's had enough matches or whatever, that's it.
I think he's possibly the longest. Do you know what? I think he definitely is. He's had the longest WWE tenure ever, I think. For a full-time competitor.
It's got to be up there.
He's definitely within the top 10, I'd say.
I'm going to do some research on that, but I definitely think he's up there because I'd argue because his main roster debut was in 2002.
Yeah.
Obviously, we take away injuries, but he's never ever been like.
He's never left the promotion.
Never left. He's always been a full-time wrestler. You're right. He's always never been gone part-time or gone to do commentary.
Like even Big Show, who's been around for years and is constantly popping back up. He was there a fair few years before Randy Orton, but he went away to do films here and there.
Well, and also he left in 2006 after the ECW brand tenure. He left for a year and then he came back to the company. Obviously, Kane, who's obviously still under WWE contract,
but we can't count him as full time. So
he's not really an active performer anymore. But yeah,
he's more of a ticket seller, if anything, isn't he?
25 years, I think, almost. It's got to be over 25 years now
for Kane. Yeah,
if you add in obviously Isaac Yankem and Fake Diesel.
if you count his non-Kane monikers.
Yeah. But then that's weird saying that because you're saying, he's still people still remember him as doing that, and that over 25 years ago. But he's been Kane still for 23 years, I think.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Kane has been Kane longer than I have been born.
That is bloody insane. But yeah, so you're going with your boy Drew.
I'm going Drew.
You're going Drew.
Although,
that's cool.
This is another one of those matches where I could not care less who wins. I'll be happy regardless.
Yeah, I think it's thing is the show is very B show by looking at it.
Yeah.
Like obviously, the stipulation of the championships is there, but I'm still excited for some of the matches. Some of them I really, I said I don't care about some of the rematches in particular. But I think in particular the IC title ladder match. The main event with Drew and Randy, assuming it is on last, should be good. I'm also looking forward to Reigns and Uso. I think this could be a good sleeper one, and one that people should take seriously if booked right. I'm looking forward to seeing Montez Ford, how high he gets for that frog splash, or what. I
swear he gets higher every pay-per-view.
Whatever tremendous athletic ability thing he'd do. He is such a phenomenal athlete, and I know this is outside of our kind of predictions thing. I just think, he's such a fantastic talent, and someone which, you always want to look forward to seeing what he can do next, and that's happening on this one.
I think that should be a new question on the prediction show. How high will Montez Ford jump on this frog splash?
It's insane. It's insane. But look. They're all locked in. We've got some differences there, Josh, but that's what makes it interesting. I'd just like to hear what you guys think as well. Like, we're going to be back for, we've got a few things coming up in the pipeline, actually. We are starting, basically what we're trying to do, as season 2, the second part of it, will be resuming in a few weeks' time. Please look out for our YouTube and our Facebook pages for more information on that. What we're trying to do is when we want to give you more content, want to give you more content that you need and that you want. And so we are going to be splitting the news section of our episodes into its own show altogether.
We'll be cutting the leaf and growing a new flower.
And I'm really looking forward to it. It's something which we've been speaking about and sorting out for the last kind of few weeks. And it will be starting up next Wednesday, which is the something of October, I believe. I believe it is October next Wednesday.
Tomorrow's the 23rd of September, so 7 days' time, it'll be the 30th of September.
30th, okay, there we are, 30th of September, believe it or not. So we'll be going with our brand new news show called The Gorilla Press. We can't wait for that. It'd be cool. And it means as well.
Shout out to Vinnie Daniels for coming up with the name.
Yeah. And we're back for season 2, part 2, in a few weeks' time. And of course, don't forget that we will obviously have all the viewpoints coming up for upcoming WWE and AEW events, as well as NXT takeovers, whenever they get added in. So without further ado, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've been Life Coach Lucas Jackson, joined by Jazzy Josh Porter. This has been The Viewpoint. Thank you very much.
Take it easy.